guys, happy Sunday. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to the channel. So this is a little bit of an earlier start to the vlog week than I typically would have. Usually I start vlogging towards the back end of the week, but I've only just recently put this past previous vlog, which would have gone up this morning, literally. So hopefully you've gone and watched that already. But I just thought I would start it here because it has been just an absolutely wild kind of 24 hours. I think I kind of just wanted to pick this up so I didn't sort of forget how I was feeling at the time or my thoughts at the time. But if you are watching this a week from now, hopefully things have sort of started to settle down a little bit. But obviously the US and Iran are all bombing each other and it's just crazy. Because last night I did get woken up in the middle of the night by my iPhone alarm going off, and yeah, basically almost like what they called like those sort of public announcements that the government put out, like official announcements, literally saying that you almost needed to take shelter and that you needed to stay away from doors, windows, all of this. And that was about 12:30 at night. So, obviously I went to sleep, got that alarm on my phones, woke up. Then I went down to the lobby for about like 20 minutes. I just went down to see what was going on and see how many people were down there, if it was something that I should be doing, because obviously when you're in that situation, and coming from the UK, you're never really that close to conflict. And I think that's something that we do take for granted a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, I still feel like overall Dubai is still the safer place to be. I still feel quite safe here. I still actually feel, even though last night I was very unsettled with the whole situation, especially given that I've just moved into an apartment on the 27th floor, and obviously high floors and shrapnel and debris falling from missiles they're shooting out the sky, because that's mainly what it is. It's like, even though there's been a couple of impacts here, mainly I think around the Palm, luckily where I'm in now, you don't really see any of that so much because it's a safer area, which is something I'm really grateful for. But I still feel very safe here in general, because they have just been intercepting missiles and it's actually being targeted, and they probably have like one of the best defense systems in the world here, and you're probably much less likely to be injured or have a fatality here from these sorts of things than you would in the UK from getting stabbed or whatever. And generally I actually feel very, very relaxed, and I think that there are a lot of like people at the moment who are kind of bigging it up a lot more than what it is. Like, now, don't get me wrong, like I know this, if you'd been in the areas that were being hit by debris and you saw fires, it's definitely not something to be downplayed, and you do want to make sure you take it seriously because you want to protect yourself, protect your family. But then ultimately it's not really about us, it's about the people that are actually undergoing these attacks in the zones of conflict. Like, those are the people that are really suffering here, not us, like in Dubai, and everyone's like on social media being like, oh my god, like so unsafe, da 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 da. I'm like, trying to it's just for views and it's just for clout, really. But it's, I've just been out this morning, people are out walking their dogs, it's maybe a little bit quieter than normal on the roads, and I've been to the gym, but the gym's still got people in it. It's not like it's dead quiet. I've got a taxi in, and taxis are still running, Kareem's still running, everything is practically still running. It's not as bad as really what people think it is. And I think people like get so caught up in like, right, a lot of us are expats here, not used to these sorts of things, but I'm like, oh my god, I actually feel kind of grateful to be here in a way, because it kind of gives you that perspective, like, being close enough, definitely too close for comfort in a way, to actual conflict that people they are literally in, or they've been in the majority of their lives. That's just what they're used to, which is absolutely mad, because we hear a couple of booms in the distance and everyone's shitting a brick, and it's like, imagine what that would be like growing up with that. And then you feel really grateful for it, actually, if anything. And like I said, I'm actually quite relaxed. As much as last night was unsettling, you didn't really know what was going on, is like, okay, now the sun's come up, yes, it's still going on, I haven't heard anything for a little while, probably for a couple of hours, and obviously you don't know what's going to happen tonight, but ultimately I still feel very safe here, which I know sounds weird, but I do. But anyways, still went and trained, did intend on doing an apartment session today, but who was I kidding? I wasn't going to not go to the gym, was I? Because today is a leg session, and I just come off the back of a deload, so yeah. Fuck that, am I missing that? But in any case, I've just been doing the same things as what I usually do. I'll go out for another walk in a minute, I'll get back to my clients, I've still been doing some work. I've had a pretty productive weekend actually, despite all of this, because I had a nice rest day yesterday. And yeah, so I just thought I'd give my 2 cents on that, because I thought it was just an important topic to bring up, given that everyone just seems to be scrambling a little, well, not everybody, but a lot of people seem to be scrambling a little bit, and there's just a lot of scaremongering. It's just not it, because it's just false information, and people just get scared for no, like, you know, not for no reason, but like people get a lot more panicked than I think is sometimes warranted. And then I think that that's terrible for people as well, because it's just unnecessary. But anyway, leave that bit there. Hopefully tonight is okay. Hope tomorrow is okay. Hope the day after is okay. It's now Saturday, so a good few days later. I still have all my limbs, thankfully. So as you can see, it is a check-in day, so I'm actually going to check in this morning. It's a rest day for me today. I actually had a really good session at Muscle Hut yesterday, which was a posterior session. I hit a couple of PBs, one on the Smith machine hip thrust, and then another one on the leg press, which I'm pretty sure I actually updated you on last time, because I think last week I'd hit a couple of PBs as well, except for this time round, I really struggled to rack the Smith back in. Thankfully, there are people around to lend a helping hand when I get a bit stuck. I just find that, especially when I'm using the mat, it's like very, very difficult to turn, like to turn the handles, to turn the bar and twist it back in. And especially when you're under that much loading as well, because I think I did 3 plates on both sides, or 3 plates per side. And I got it for an extra rep, I think, this time round. Yeah, you fear for your life for a second, let's put it that way. But we still got it, which is the main thing, even if it was like a 3-second static hold at the end while I was trying to like rack the Smith back in. But still a very, very good session. Training's been going well this week. I have also slept generally a lot better the past couple of weeks, but I'm looking forward to just kind of checking in now, just having a little look over videos and just assessing where I am and what I want. Definitely been feeling a little bit like bored in terms of the current phase that I'm in, especially given that being at maintenance is great, and I don't feel necessarily need to push up. I'm only about 2.5 kilos still above where I was at my lowest diet weight, and I definitely feel just a little bit softer. Obviously, I'm going to more food volume or water. I think I went through that before as well, so I'm not going to repeat myself there. But I feel like that itch to move forward a little bit. But at the same time, I don't need to be that much leaner. I know that I do want to diet down for my team shoot, which is actually in June, but that's still a ways off. So I probably don't realistically need to be starting that now. But then I'm also thinking, because everything's been a bit more like quiet here due to everything going on in the world, like World War III basically, I just feel like there's just not really that much going on that would stop me from just knuckling down a little bit. So in my mind, I'm like, do I just take that as an opportunity just to inch forward a little bit more, have another little hold, and then crack on? Because ultimately at the minute, I am still progressing. I am actually getting stronger in the gym. I don't want to stop doing that, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I could always use this opportunity when things have died down a little bit to be like, well, I just pull off another couple of kilo. This is like where I'm in 2 minds, and where I'm like, obviously not competitively bodybuilding, I'm not super fixed in a phase, so it's quite transient. Obviously I'm not going to be flip-flopping between the two, and I'm very aware of like not doing that, but I'm like, it's a good opportunity maybe just to kind of like just dig in a little bit more, given there's not really that much going on, not really many meals going in, and I don't know, I'm just going to have to decide that for myself. I'm gonna take my check-in pictures now in my video. Obviously, being in this apartment too, I know that this still feels very much like temporary for me. And I feel like my life hasn't really started yet, in a way, which I know sounds really weird, but I just feel like I need to close that gap between this temporary sort of like living situation period in my life by actually having some sort of focus, just to kind of keep myself preoccupied. Obviously, it's been a really, really wicked couple of weeks business-wise. I've had a good few girls join the team, which is amazing, by the way. Interesting coaching. Head to the link in the description. I'll get you out some more information. But I just feel like from a physique standpoint, I know I keep saying it, but I'm like, oh, don't want to, oh, it's a fly. Disgusting. I don't want to jump the gun, but at the same time, I do like having a goal. But anyway, I'm rambling now, so I'm going to take my check-in pictures and then I will catch you in a little bit. Run you through my thoughts, like I promised, on, I suppose, like my most recent check-in, because I took my video and pictures and I have sent them over to Nathan, and I just got my check-in feedback this morning, so I just thought it would be good to sort of reflect on what I'm thinking. Also, being able to take almost like an objective view rather than a subjective view on where I'm at. And that's why I think that even as a coach, like having someone oversee, like as a coach yourself or being a PT, like having someone oversee your own progress, do your own programming, and almost get you to see the forest from the trees in a non-subjective way can be so, so useful. Because I do it for obviously a lot of my girls that are coaches and PTs, and it just means that you don't have to do so much of that thinking and processing for you. You could just simply focus on giving your clients the best service that you possibly can. Right? Currently 3 kilos above my lowest diet weight, which probably, well, the majority of that is simply just water and extra food volume. All that good stuff that I've mentioned in the past. Now, I've been holding there quite nicely, and I actually did see a bit of a drop on the scale this morning, so I'm down below 61s again, so I'm like 60.8 as of today. So there is like this degree of fluctuation, I suppose you could say. So I kind of go from high 60s to mid 61s, where I'm sitting at the moment. Now, I am just simply sitting in maintenance, but Nathan was like, look, at the moment, everything is going really well in terms of my sleep is better than what it has been for some time. I've actually literally just caught up on my 11 hours of sleep debt from January, and my sleep this week has been absolutely perfect. Like perfect. And I was really struggling with it in January, actually. There was just quite a lot of moving parts and there was a lot going on. I think that obviously then that affects your mentality, and then obviously, then you start to stress about your sleep even more. When you stress about your sleep, it almost makes things worse. And I always say this, it's like we can be really meticulous with sleep and trying to make sure that we perfect everything with it, but sometimes it can almost lead you to a point where you almost feel so stressed about it that it almost makes your sleep worse because you're trying to be so perfect with it. So I think it's that balance that you need to almost like find. But it has gotten a lot better. I've caught up on all that sleep debt, so it's 0 as of this morning. So I'm really pleased with that. And training is probably better than what it has been the past few months. It's progressing really, really well. And recovery is also fantastic because my sleep has been so good. So right now I'm actually in a position where I have almost like the opportunity to improve here a little bit. And while things are going so well, I almost don't want to jump the gun yet for maybe a good couple of weeks anyways. Just keep running this forward because I have been in this phase for about 10 weeks. I think it's about like 10 weeks or so now. So a good amount of time. I think if I push that up to 12, that's 3 months out of a diet, getting my monthly cycle back to a good place in terms of being more regular and being more around that 28, 29 day mark. Training is going better than ever. Recovery is really good. Sleep is better than what it has been for a long time. Almost like, right, I could definitely stay here for another couple of weeks and just ride that wave of being able to improve, because even though I'm sort of sat at maintenance, there's probably no reason why I can't improve around there. So I think that considering I'm definitely a lot fuller than where I feel like I have been, but in all the right areas. My glutes are definitely like the fullest they've been for some time. They are certainly a lot fuller. My lower body is certainly a lot fuller than it was at the back end of my diet, just generally because typically the smaller body parts are the body parts that tend to flatten out the most. And I do feel like my glutes do not disappear at all, but like they're like, they've gone from a bit deflated to a bit more like pow, which I do really like. And it's not like I'm unhappy with how I look at all, but I just like, because obviously things are quieting down here at the moment, I'm like, I could take that opportunity to move forward. That's obviously where that thought process came in. But when I look back at the past week, and obviously hearing Nathan's feedback, I'm like, you know what, he's right, like he is right. I think I could probably just hold here and continue to improve for a couple more weeks at least, without bringing that to a premature close. Now, one thing that I do want to mention is that technically I am not making optimal progress here. Like, technically at the moment I am holding myself back, and the reason why is because I am not truly committing to this phase. And not necessarily maintenance phase, but you know, when I said that I can still make progress, and I can still make progress, I fully believe that, and I don't want to go into this like maintenance block, even with the ideology that I'm not doing anything, because that's a very dangerous place to be. Because I know that I can still improve, but my rate of improvement is going to be vastly impacted by the fact that I'm not in a surplus. And this is the thing, is like, a lot of my girls who are wanting to really optimize muscle gain, you need to be in a surplus. You cannot be afraid to push body weight up and eat more food, and do that over a prolonged period of time, seeing your body weight increase slowly but surely. Now, the reason why I'm not doing that currently is because I'm out of competitive bodybuilding, and I've done the majority of my physique development to the point where I'm actually quite happy in myself at this point. And I've done that. I've done all of that. I've done it for years, which is why my physique and why I look the way I do now. I have already committed that time to being in a surplus and building and doing my time, eating more food, getting heavier. And I'm at a place now, muscularity wise, where I have the shape, I have the muscle, and I don't really need much more than that. So even though I'm technically slowing down my progression from like a building muscle perspective and gaining more shape perspective, gaining more glutes, if that's really what the goal is these days, I don't really mind that it's not optimal and it's slower, because it means more to me at this point in time that I don't necessarily gain more body fat at this point. And even if that means that I'm sat at maintenance, I really have a bit more of a cap and a limit on the progress that I can make in this sense, that's fine for me, because I've already done a lot of that work previously to get me to where I am now. So I wanted to make it very clear that even though this is where I'm at now and I look the way I do, I don't look the way I do now because I just sat at maintenance all the time, and I didn't ever do these building phases where I got more heavy, I ate more food, I trust the process, I train hard, and I got a little bit softer. I did my time doing that, and now I can just be very content with being able to make small improvements around a leaner body composition, because I already did all of that work. I've committed to so many phases, diet phases, building phases. If you want to make optimal progress, you have to commit to your phases. This is really, really important, because otherwise you will hold yourself back and you won't progress the way that you want to, because whenever you're in a phase, you want to maximize for that time that you're in it. You don't want to drag things out for longer than what they need to be, because otherwise that drags out your timeline massively and it does start to slow down your progression. So that is one thing that I want to make very clear. This is how I'm doing things now, but the way I look now is not a reflection of what I'm doing now. It's what I've done for years in terms of committing to phases in the past. So that is my 2 cents on it. Don't want you to get the wrong impression here, and that is why I'm not making as much progress as I could, but also why I'm okay with that, because I have an understanding of where I'm at and what the priorities are to me, which might be different to the priorities that you have. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I hope you enjoyed the vlog, guys. I appreciate you watching as always. If you did enjoy it, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, I don't get blown up by them.